Welcome to my channel. Hope you enjoy listening to music and relax. Please like, share, comment, and get notified of the next music videos. Thank you very much.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight.
Today, we'll be looking into the top 10 songs from 1961. 1961 was a special year in music. Rock and roll was still young, soul music was heating up, and pop radio was full of dreamy ballads and catchy hooks that still hold up. These are the songs that lit up the charts, filled dance floors, and gave us some of the most unforgettable melodies of the decade. So whether you were around back then or just discovering this music now, this list is packed with timeless jams. Let's dive in and relive the magic of 1961. Starting off at number 10 is Stand By Me by Ben E. King.
That we look upon.
Ben King, formerly of the Drifters, co-wrote and sang Stand By Me, which was released as a single in 1961.
Shed a tear just as long as you stand.
The title and feel of the song were inspired by an old gospel spiritual, originally by Charles Albert Tindley, and by Sam Cooke's group, the Soul Stirrers. King recorded it in late 1960 for the Drifters who had passed, and had the producers call the band back in for one more take. And that studio leftover became a classic.
And darling, darling, stand by me.
It's a timeless soul track about loyalty and friendship, earning King huge royalties over $22 million, and even induction into the Library of Congress in 2015 as a culturally significant recording.
That we look upon should tumble and
Fun fact, Stand By Me has been covered 400 plus times by artists from Otis Redding to John Lennon, and its signature bass and guitar intro was famously co-written by Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller, with King singing a cappella at first.
darling, stand by me. As I walk along,
Coming in at number 9 is Runaway by Del Shannon.
and as I still walk on, I think of
Released on February 18th, 1961, it was written by Del Shannon, born Charles Westover, and his keyboardist, Max Crook.
as I still walk on, I think we're done.
Shannon was a young singer from Battle Creek, Michigan, who took his stage name after the Beatles were rising. He chose Del Shannon for its sound. In fact, Shannon and Crook first recorded it as Little Runaway, then rewrote and re-recorded it in January 1961 with Crook's homemade Musitron synth solo.
To end this misery, and I wonder.
The song blew up internationally. It hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 4 weeks and was later voted a top 500 all-time song by Rolling Stone. Interesting trivia. After its release, Shannon even appeared on American Bandstand, April 1961, which helped the song climb to the top of the charts. The eerie keyboard hook and its story of a broken-hearted runaway girl gave Runaway a unique 1961 edge. Teen.
I'm a walking in the rain. Tears are falling. It's about a girl that I once knew.
At number 8 is Runaround Sue, the doo-wop rock and roll hit by Dion DiMucci. Dion co-wrote it with his friend Ernie Maresca, and it was recorded after Dion split from his first group, the Belmonts. The song was released in September 1961. It's sung from the point of view of a guy warning other guys to avoid a wild girl named Sue. Legend has it Dion first sketched the song at a birthday party, improvising lyrics and doo-wop harmonies with friends, then finished it up with Maresca in the studio. It became Dion's first number 1 pop hit and a certified classic Rolling Stone ranked it number 351 of all time. Fun fact, in 2002, Dion was inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame for this very song. One last thing. Dion's wife Susan appears in interviews joking about the name Sue, but Dion says it was just a girl's name that fit the song.
I couldn't sleep at all last night.
The number 7 pick is Tossin' and Turnin' by Bobby Lewis. This party-ready R&B song was released on April 30th, 1961. Written by Richie Adams and Malou Renee. Bobby Lewis was an Indiana-born singer. Raised in an orphanage, he learned piano by age 6, who had been working the blues and R&B circuit since the 1950s.
Roll up my shade, turned off my light, I jumped back into bed, it was the middle of...
In Tossin' and Turnin', he sings about being so in love he can't sleep at all, making it the ultimate 1961 insomnia anthem.
Couldn't sleep at all last night.
It caught on big time. The single climbed to number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on July 10th, 1961, and R&B charts, staying number 1 for 7 straight weeks. Billboard even named it the number 1 song of 1961 for all genres. An interesting tidbit. Music writer Tom Bryan calls it the greatest insomnia-themed party anthem ever. The combination of Lewis's joyful, shouty vocals and a killer saxophone makes it a fun piece of 61 nostalgia. At number 6 is country crossover I Fall to Pieces, recorded by Patsy Cline.
How can I be just your friend?
Written by country legends Hank Cochran and Harlan Howard, Patsy recorded it in late 1960, and Decca released it on January 30th, 1961. Cline, already a rising Nashville star, was initially reluctant about the song's soft style, but it became one of her signature tracks. It raced up the country charts to number 1 and even crossed over into the Pop Top 20, becoming among her biggest hits. Interestingly, radio didn't pick it up right away. A savvy promoter had to hustle DJs to give it a spin before it finally took off. The smooth orchestration and Patsy's heartfelt vocals helped define the Nashville sound of 1961. Fun fact, after Cline's success with it, the songwriters later quipped they wore gold watches from Patsy. She even had a bracelet engraved, "I fall to pieces. Thanks for the hit."
Each time someone speaks your name.
We're halfway through our list. By the way, I want to hear from you. What's your favorite song from 1961? And how old were you when you first heard these tunes? Drop a comment below to share your memories. If you're enjoying this trip through 1961 hits, don't forget to like and subscribe for more music vibes. Kicking off the second half, number 5 is Hey, Baby by Bruce Channel. Channel, a singer from Fort Worth, Texas, co-wrote this catchy pop song and first released it on a local label in late 1961. Its big moment came early 1962 when it hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song is famous for Delbert McClinton's harmonica riff. Channel was so impressed with McClinton's playing that Delbert even taught John Lennon harmonica licks during the Beatles' first U.S. tour. And Lennon later used those tips on Love Me Do. In other words, the harmonica break on Hey Baby indirectly helped spark a Beatles classic. Also neat, Channel's song pops up in Dirty Dancing, 1987, during Johnny and Baby's dance on a log. It's a sweet, feel-good number about a shy girl catching the singer's eye. Pure early 60s pop magic. Our number 4 is the doo-wop delight Blue Moon by the Marcells. Released in February 1961, it's actually a rock and roll cover of the 1934 Rodgers and Hart ballad. The Marcells were a Pittsburgh doo-wop group, notably racially integrated, who turned the gentle tune into an upbeat party song. Legend says they needed one more track at the end of a recording session. So someone shouted, "Let's do Blue Moon!" And in just 2 takes, they created this hit. They even borrowed the famous "Bomp Baba Bomp Dip Da Dip" intro from a Cadillac song in their act. The result? It shot to number 1 in the US pop chart for 3 weeks and also topped the UK charts. The record sold over 1 million copies, and it's included in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll. A fun fact, Blue Moon knocked an Elvis track out of the top spot and became the group's signature move, though their follow-ups never matched its success. The bouncy harmonies and nonsense hook make it a standout 1961 classic.
Blue.
At number 3 is Michael, Row the Boat Ashore by the Highwaymen. Though it was recorded in 1960, released September 1960, it became a hit in 1961. This song is actually a traditional African-American spiritual, dating back to the Civil War era on the Sea Islands of South Carolina. Folk singer Tony Salatin rediscovered and arranged it in the folk revival of the 1950s, and a New York folk quintet called the Highwaymen recorded it under the simpler title, Michael. Their version hit number 1 on Billboard's Hot 100 for 2 weeks. In September 1961, and even topped WABC Radio in New York in August. Billboard ranked it as the number 3 song of 1961 overall.
River is deep and the river is wide.
The Highwaymen's a cappella opener and gentle harmonies with lines like "Michael row the boat ashore, hallelujah," made it a peaceful folk pop crossover. In honor of its origins, Salatin actually put the song's royalties in trust to benefit the original authors who were long gone. This tune's success shows how 1961 was also a time when folk music broke into the pop mainstream.
Michael row the boat ashore.
Tonight you're mine, completely.
Taking the number 2 spot is "Will You Love Me Tomorrow" by the Shirelles. Written by Carole King and Jerry Goffin, this song was first recorded by the Shirelles and released in November 1960. It became a huge hit in early 1961, famously becoming the first ever number 1 Billboard Hot 100 hit by an African-American girl group. The Shirelles, 4 high school friends from Passaic, New Jersey, blended doo-wop, R&B, and pop in a way that spoke to the new teen girl audience of the 60s.
Will you love me tomorrow?
The lyrics were heartfelt and honest. The singer wonders if her new boyfriend will still love her tomorrow after the night is over. Despite initial resistance from producers who thought it was too country, the song's soft melody and emotional vulnerability won over radio and listeners.
Is love I can be sure.
An interesting note, Carole King herself later recorded a version of it in 1971. But nothing beats the Shirelles' groundbreaking original. This song helped pave the way for other girl groups of the 60s.
Tonight you're mine completely.
Finally, our number one pick is Hit the Road Jack by Ray Charles. Released in August 1961, it was written by rhythm and blues singer Percy Mayfield. Ray Charles, the blind pianist from Georgia who helped create soul music, brought the song to life with a piano-driven groove and call and response vocals with Raylette's singer Margie Hendricks.
Baby, don't treat me this way, but I'll be back on my feet someday.
The story is that Mayfield recorded a demo a cappella in 1960, but once Ray added drums and horns, it became a smash. Charles's version zoomed to number one on the Billboard Hot 100 in October 1961, and also ruled the R&B chart for 5 weeks.
I mean, I was wrong. Mistake. I owe my...
The catchy line, "Hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more," became iconic. Not only did it win a Grammy for Best R&B Recording, but Ray's 1961 performance was later inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. Rolling Stone even lists it among the 500 greatest songs of all time.
Oh, man. I'm thinking when I get home...
Fun fact, the Chantels released an answer song called "Well, I Told You" to follow this storyline. Ray Charles's charismatic delivery and signature style made Hit the Road Jack a lasting classic that closed out 1961 on a high note. These tracks were amazing, defining a decade of great melodies and songs, proving that the 60s was truly an amazing decade.